Hey everybody, Matt here. Today I'm going to do a video. I'm going to show you how to make your very own water filtration system. Now this is going to be sort of a larger scale water filtration system. This isn't something small and portable. Basically what this is going to be based off of is the Berkey water filter. Now some of you out there may know what the Berkey water filter is. If you don't, I'll explain it real quick. It's basically a two bucket system, one bucket stacked on top of the other. You pour water into the top bucket, it goes through a filter, comes out clean in the bottom bucket. Really great system, I love it a lot. Problem is, it starts for the smallest size at $220, and the filters themselves, which a lot of people like to take two 5-gallon buckets and make their own filtration system and just buy the filters from Berkey. The filters themselves cost for, this is obviously not the Berkey filters, but they're about this size. Two of them cost $99. That's about roughly $50 a filter. There may be some places you can get them a little bit cheaper, but overall, I mean, they're a $50 filter. Now, I wanted to make a system, much like you've seen on YouTube probably before, where people have taken the Berkey water filter and put it in two buckets and created their own water filtration system, but I wanted to do it using a type of filter that you can find anywhere, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, and that is your basic standard drinking water filter. Something that would be either for a refrigerator that filters drinking water, where you have the little, put the cup in and get ice and drinking water, or for under your sink. A lot of people have a filtration system under their sink so they can drink water out of the tap. Also for water fountains. Now, the differences on water fountains, sometimes they're a little bit smaller. They're about half this size. The system I've come up with basically will work with any size filter, the full length or the half length filters. And you know, essentially, like I said, I just wanted to come up with something where I can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, Target, Walmart, wherever, any hardware store, and go pick up a standard filter, and I don't have to order one online. I don't have to pay 50 bucks for it. Yes, I can go get an expensive reverse osmosis one or something like that for 35, 40 bucks if I want to, or I got this 2-pack here at Home Depot for $11, so $5.50 a piece. Okay, this is a basic sediment filter. This is something that would go on your refrigerator, under your sink, or in a water fountain. That's going to filter out that all the particulate matter, the chlorine taste, the rust, any kind of crap like that. Now, of course, as with any filtration system, I mean, it is not there to purify your water. It just filters it. You will have to purify your water later if you are worried that your water is dirty, if you're getting out of a lake or a pond or something like that when you're camping, or if the shit hits the fan or something. You're going to want to purify the water after you filtered it using purification tablets or a tablespoon of bleach or whatever. But this is just a basic filtration system. So I'm going to go through the different parts you're going to need and how to put them together, and that's about it. So obviously you're going to start with the filters. Like I said, these are basic sediment filters. You can get these $5 a piece. You can go on up to like a $40 reverse osmosis filter, whatever you want. They're all going to be roughly the same size. The big difference between these regular standard filters that you can find anywhere and a Berkey filter is a Berkey filter filters from the outside of the filter into the channel, into the center, where it drops out the bottom. Most of your other filters are inline. They filter from the channel inside out. Okay, that is a big difference between these two types of filters. So you have to make it slightly different than you would make one for a Berkey, because it does need to filter that way. The easiest way to do that is, instead of putting it into the top bucket where you pour the water in, you put it in the bottom bucket so that it can filter that way. And I'll show you how I do that. So you're going to start with the filters. Next, you're going to go with a 12-inch long, 3/8 inch threaded rod. Now you can go smaller than 3/8, but I recommend 3/8. It's got the strength behind it. It's not going to bend or anything like that, and it's going to do whatever you need it to do. Don't go any bigger than that, because basically the way this is going to be is you're going to run this rod down the center of the filter, and you want that clearance in there so that water can pass through without any kind of obstruction. Okay, so once you've got that, what you're going to do is you're going to take it, first of all, you're going to have your wing nut here at the end. Then you're going to, underneath the wing nut, you're going to have a little 3/4 inch fender washer. And basically a fender washer is just a rubber washer. It's like a gasket, okay? 3/4 inch fender washer, followed by a 1-inch regular washer, followed by a 1 1/4 inch fender washer, followed by a 1 1/2 inch regular washer, followed by a 2-inch fender washer. Now basically what that's going to do is that's going to create sort of a little pyramid effect of sandwiched washers. Okay, so that way when you put this in here, and I'll show you how I tighten it up later, but once you get it all tight and snug, this is going to fit nice and tight and snug against this end of the filter to where it doesn't allow any water to come out. You don't want water to come out either side of the filter. You want it to be able to go in one side and then filter out through the filter portion itself, not slip out of here. So that's what you're trying to accomplish here. Now, some of the reverse osmosis filters do not already have these rubber seals on the top and bottom of the filter. You may want to get an extra 2-inch washer to help seal that down good, but it's not really that much of an issue. Next up, for what you're going to be putting on the other end of this rod, you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need another wing nut. You're going to need an 1.5 inch. It doesn't have to be 1.5 inches. It can be 2 inches or whatever. A washer, but the main thing is you're going to want it to be rounded out for a 5/8 inch bolt. Then you're going to want to get a 5/8 inch castle nut. Now, you don't have to do this like I did, but I pressed the castle nut and the washer together just so that they're more like one piece. But the reason you need a castle nut is, as you can see here on the castle nut, it has these little notches cut into this side of it, okay? And when you want something for the water to filter in through, okay? Because once you tighten all this down, if you didn't have these little notches here, there would be no way for water to get into the center channel of the filter to filter into the bottom bucket. And that's kind of what your castle nut's going to do. Next, what you're going to need is you're going to need to get yourself 3 2-inch washers. They can be any size. It can be 3/8, 1/2 inch, whatever. It doesn't matter, because you're going to wallow them out to about 1 inch to 1.25 inches anyway, so that they match up with the hole in the filter. Okay. Next up, you're going to get yourself 2 5-gallon buckets. Now, for the purposes of my experiment, because I didn't want to go cutting up any of my food grade buckets, I used Home Depot buckets. Okay, so your first Home Depot bucket, you're going to do nothing with. You're just going to leave it alone. The only thing you're going to do to that is with the lid, you're going to take the lid and cut about 1.25 inch hole to match up with this and to match up with the filter in the lid. This is going to be for your bottom bucket. That's it. That's all you're going to do with the bottom bucket. The top bucket, on the other hand, you're going to go a little bit different. You're going to cut 1.25 inch hole in the center of it, once again to align with all this. Also, this ridge that's along the outside of most of your buckets, you're going to cut that off with a razor blade. The reason they put that on there is because when you set the bucket down, it will rest on those ridges and not on the bottom of the bucket. But because you want to get a good seal here in the center of the bucket, you're going to want to cut that ridge off so that this is what touches the lid of the bottom bucket. Okay? Now, going back to these gaskets here, these 3 gaskets, you're going to take these 3 gaskets, wallow them out. Like I said, do about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. You're going to put a little super glue on them and sandwich them together. Make sure they're good and dry, because these are what is going to seal up between the 2 buckets. Okay? When you tighten everything up, this seal is what's going to be in the center of all this stuff. Okay? So you're going to want that to be a good thick seal, so you can see how thick that gets whenever you sandwich 3 of them together. So essentially what you're going to do, and I'm going to put it together and show you here in the end result here real quick, is you're going to thread this through one end of your filter, and then this is going to go up against, attached to the bottom of your bucket and your lid, and then on the other end, obviously, you're going to run your castle nut and everything and your washer through, put your wing nut with your seal in the center, so that seals up nice, and that's it. You're pretty much done. So now we're going to show you what the finished product. Okay, so here's the finished product. This is essentially what it's going to look like for you. And of course your top bucket can have a lid there that you can throw onto it. As you can see, when I was experimenting, I cut a hole in this lid first and I made it too big, but you don't want to make that same mistake, so I experimented and told you what size holes to cut in it. But essentially when you're done, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be a 2-bucket system. And how this system is going to work, if you pull this top bucket off, you can see that the lid is attached to the top bucket. And what you're going to have here is you're going to have your filtration system, your filter, attached and sandwiched to these. Now, it is a little goofy looking as far as comparing it to the Berkey. Obviously, the Berkey looks a little nicer because the filter's all tucked inside the top bucket. But that's not the point of this, okay? Now, if you see in here, okay, you've got your bucket. There's your wing nut, your castle nut, and your washer. You're going to fill the top bucket up. The water is going to seep through the holes that are in the castle nut, and it's going to slowly fill up the center channel of this filter right here, and it's going to filter out. So it's going to fill up in that bucket. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little example of how the water filters out. Now, if you know anything about these, water filters, Berkeys especially, the water filtration system is slow. It's not a quick process. You would pour 5 gallons of water in there, and come back in an hour or 2, and it would have filtered out. So it is a slow process, but it is enough that you'll be able to see it on camera. So I'll show you that real quick, what it looks like. All right, everybody, we're gonna pour some water in here. I already got a little bit in there, and we're gonna pour a little more just to show you what it looks like when it's filtering. Just a little bit of water, just enough to get it going. And this water is passing through the castle nut and into the channel of the filter, and then coming out the sides of the filter. And we'll show you what it looks like here, if you can see that. Hopefully you can see it. But it's coming out the sides of the filter here. It's just leaking out. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if we can get more of a close-up shot there where it's leaking out the filter there and dripping down. And it'll sit there and it'll go through the sediment filter, and what you're going to get out of the bottom is going to be nice, clean, particulate-free water. And that's pretty much how it works. And like I said, oh, let me just finish off here real quick. This cost me total, all in all for everything, buckets included, this cost me, I think, about $14 to put this together. That includes the filter, the buckets, the washers, the threaded rod, everything. It will cost me less than $15 to put together. So it is a very cheap and functional alternative to a $220 Berkey filter. So that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.